Assalamualaikum and a very good day. I am Zikri Arif. I will be presenting my final design Pre-Thesis 1, House of Maharani, the architecture of citizen participation in political governance. Mahathir once said that we need a position to remind us if we are making mistakes, because when you are not opposed, you will think everything you do is right. But what is actually the big deal about architecture and citizen participation to our nation? We can see that Malaysia have a number of nation-building policies that were established post-Merdeka, where it was the transformative period in progressively becoming a developed nation, where some of it were to promote social and economic development and also ethnic harmony and national unity. The chosen site proposal is located in Muar, Johor, particularly along Jalan Saleh in Bandar Maharani. Before we start, let's dive deep into the emerging social and cultural issues of the people in Muar, but actually they are not new to them. In 2018, the current Muar MP, Syed Saddiq, has reported that there are scarcities of quality high-income jobs and people of Muar are going outside to Kuala Lumpur and Johor Bahru, for example, where the people are often stuck in middle or lower middle income trap as the wages of Muar people were stagnant. Then there is a hypothesis of, is rumahku syurgaku a dead concept because people are moving out? Is it because of their complacency, or was it bounded by the generation gaps? Or perhaps the urban sprawl is killing the Muarin dream? Or is it because of the decaying appreciation of the royal town concept that it is not working? And how exactly does the generation gap contribute to the scarcity of quality high-income jobs in Muar? Is it because of the clashes of ideas between generations? There was a study done for the people of Muar where they want and yearn for more job opportunities of higher wage and salary accordingly, wider internet connections, platforms to express themselves, and their voices to be heard by the government. Also, how does the differences and preferability of the gig economy and traditional employment also contributes to the issues of generation and knowledge gaps between the people in Muar? We can see that the younger generation has the highest concerns of the ability to find and secure job for them to make a living, where 32% of them agreed to it. So, based on these prevalent issues that I've studied, I've came up with this design thesis framework, the 3 social issues I have shown previously, and the 3 additional architectural issues of the thematic and isolating different groups of society, the compromised intentions of a building, and the politics of space that creates one-size-fits-all. The aim of this design Pre-Thesis is to design a social engagement and civic authoritative integrated center as a solution to bridge the generation and knowledge gaps for the economic and social rejuvenation in Muar. And the objectives are categorized into 3. To propose architectural design approach that rejuvenates the social interactions of citizens in Muar, to bridge and connect the loose generation and knowledge gaps using the community participation and the politics of space, and finally, to implement building programs that will engage participation between the community and the authoritative parties in bridging the generation and knowledge gaps. So based on the readings and studies, inequality created a political generation gap, but which party will actually bridge it for the people of Muar? And by bridging these knowledge and generation gaps, what will be the scale of interventions for the people in Muar? Should it go beyond the extent of the royals, or the NGO, or the non-governmental individuals? So answering the first objective, focusing on architecture in proposing architectural design approach for social interactions and participations, let's look at this diagram of typology of conversations where we can see the differences between discourse, dialogue, diatribe and debate, from being cooperative to competitive, and from one-way to two-way conversation. This proposal will be focused on providing laman rakyat untuk rakyat in order to promote the citizen participation. These are the social components that will be used to activate the participation through architecture spaces. Moving on to the second objective in bridging and connecting the loose generation and knowledge gaps, this proposal is focused on the concept of Hart's ladder of citizen participation, where we can see the main 3 tiers from non-participation to tokenism and citizen control could turn the voice of the citizen to be heard and accommodated by the participation of the Muar citizen that will lead to consensus among all parties. With that, I have created a comprehensive ecosystem that revolves around this tagline: consensus, accommodation and participation. With this ecosystem, all key stakeholders of the local authorities, the professionals and experts, in collaboration with the community, citizens and investors, will get to engage and supervise each other through these 2 main spaces: the active podium, where there will be pitching of ideas and voices to be heard, with the intention of teaching and learning and the civic podium of policy making and joint decision making between all stakeholders. By that, it will create an expressive citizen design activities in bridging the knowledge and generation gaps through formal programs and informal programs that has been established in this proposal. The ecosystem that I have established will lead into this third objective in implementing building programs about participation between parties. So imagine a civic space of citizen participation that could boost up economy and social interactions between Muarians and the local government. Hence, based on the ecosystem I have established, this is the informal program flow where all the stakeholders will go through the active podium that will have citizen social spaces, workshops, and flexible spaces that has expressive citizen design narrative activities. With the relation of the informal flow, this formal program flow is to be focused on the policy making based on the feedback of the people through these discourse spaces, as this is going to create opportunities to the people of Muar to be part of implementation process that will benefit the community through social and economic development aspect. So, in translating those components, ecosystem and program flow, those two civic and active podium will sit side by side where the discourse spaces will span along from one end to another. The program and zoning will start with a basic form massing around the setback, where the massing will be sliced to create breathability and visibility from the opposite commercial lot directly to the Muar River, and the spaces are categorized according to the program flow established, and the discourse spaces is located at the central spine connecting it all together. And by referring to Autodesk Ecotech, the optimal orientation should be tilted by 13 degrees from the project north to respond to the daylight. This has given more flexibility to the active podium to respond to the site context, where a new silent entrance is introduced for walkability and accessibility into the site from the buildings beside, and the extensions of plaza onto Muar River is to promote the interest of sociability for the citizen participation, and also new link bridge is to connect with the opposite commercial lot. Finally, to provide a seamless pedestrian movement into these plazas without any obstruction, the ground floor and sub-basement plazas are to put on the ground floor to amplify the citizen participation, and viewing deck is introduced to receive Muar River view and visual participation to those plazas at the ground floor. So, let's move on to the design outlook of the proposal. The site accessibility on ground level will have multitude of access from the adjacent walkway from Jalan Maharani on the left side and the new silent entrance at the right hand side. Two link bridges will connect the proposed building from the opposite, and new Maharani bus stop is located nearby. We can see here the active podium where 5 main spaces of Arena Maharani, the ones on Muar River with the Lanai Maharani, where activities of debate, discourse, wayang baca, public speaking, outdoor social interactions are provided here. Laman Rakyat, where the heart of active podium is sunken to the sub-basement and accessible from all directions. Moving on to the civic podium, it will house Dewan Maharani, where it is triple volume in height and it is accessible to the public on the ground floor. Also, adjacent to it is Tangga Maharani, where the public can also sit and watch the hearing and discourse in it. The very end will house a closed press room with briefing room next to Dewan Maharani. Continuing the triple volume of Dewan Maharani, we can see the actual space of discourse is situated at the basement, where all the related parties will fight for their rights verbally until a consensus between them is achieved. On the level 1, the very top of Dewan Maharani will have the place for related parties to watch the discourse inside it, with briefing rooms near it. Situated nearby will be the offices of the public, focusing on the social welfare, healthcare, financial and legal services, with workshops rooms in between. Near the Muar River, there will be another discourse space of Maharani view that is accessible to the public through 2 grand staircases. On level 2, this is where the private rooms of policy making related, with the support from the city council and government departments, and the level 3 will house the service rooms and cooling towers. So all this zoning and planning of this scheme could be seen here in these exploded axonometric diagrams, where the ground floor will house more of the active podium spaces, and the top floors will house the civic spaces such as the offices and workshops. Here in this sectional perspective, you can see the triple volume of the Dewan Maharani and the multi-level plaza of Arena Maharani, which will accommodate the outdoor discourse. We can also see the sub-basement sunken Laman Maharani have the seamless access to the public and also to the area near Muar River of the lanai and the view on level 1. And here we can see the interplay of levels has been implemented from one end to another in creating hierarchy of spaces throughout the building. The grand columns and monumental look of the building could be visualized from Muar River, which will give a strong sense of form and spaces. And here are the technical layout for better understanding of the spaces established in this proposal. We can see that even though they claim that we are in a democratic nation, but it is not actually what it seems. Representative democracy is not the real democracy. Regular people or citizens in general have no say to the decisions that will affect their lives. So it is important for us, the citizens, to have more say to push for more direct forms of democracy where people are directly involved in decision making and take away power from the policymakers and work together with them, as the knowledge and generation gaps are here and will forever stay. But the general consensus through accommodating the people by participation from every party is what we should seek for before Malaysia becomes a two-party system nation like any other liberal democratic nations. By having the architecture of form that follows function, which the function that follows the power, let's give the power to the people. With that, thank you.